Hello and welcome to Biz Daily. I'm John Jordan. So the news today is that market intelligence company App Annie has been going through its data and looking at the top grossing and most downloaded games across the Apple App Store and Google Play Store for July 2015. And we've kind of find ourselves in a situation where there's a Flappy Bird type phenomenon going on. So Flappy Bird famously was the game that kind of came from nowhere, was very hard to play, very viral, and kind of just exploded in terms of downloads, and for a couple of months was the game everyone was talking about. And the game that's kind of done that in July, so the top downloaded game on iOS devices for July was one called Agar.io. I think that's how you say it. So it's Agar.io. I suppose it could be Agario or something, but I think Agar.io is how we're going to say it anyway. And that game is kind of interesting. In many ways, it is like Flappy Bird. So it's kind of had an existence kind of outside mobile for quite a while. So it's been pretty successful as a web browser game, a flash game, and people have been playing it on that basis for a long time. So it coming to mobile and being a success is not maybe a big surprise. But to go back maybe a step, the company that's brought it to mobile is Miniclip. So Miniclip has been running for a long time, many years, almost a decade now. Has been running a kind of a browser flash game portal. So it's had a lot of very addictive games that have very big audiences. Don't really have monetization in them. But it's built a very big audience, and then has slowly been kind of coming over to mobile with them. So the first game it came over to mobile with was Fragger, but that was now about 5 years ago, and they sold that for 99 cents because you could do paid games back then. We're now pretty much free to play. It's very hard to buy games, and Agar.io is very much a kind of a very kind of simple experience really. So it's a 2D game. You control a circle that moves around, and you eat the other circles that are around you, ones that are smaller than you, and as you eat them you get bigger, and there's lots of other bigger circles around that are trying to eat you. So it's actually normally, when I play it anyway, quite a quick experience. I kind of wander around for a bit and then get eaten by something. It's very high score driven, pretty hard actually, so a bit like the Flappy Bird thing, and quite viral because as soon as you play it you go, oh, I should have, that was a silly mistake to make, I should have gone the other way. Or there's a few kind of basically you can move your circle around, and you can split it in half, and you can kind of release some or get rid of some mass to kind of speed yourself up and stuff. So there's a very basic controls, but it's just very addictive. People get back and play it over and over again. But it's kind of in some ways it's no surprise that it's been the most downloaded game on iOS, but I guess iPhone really, for July. And just very addictive and very viral, and has a big fan base already. But what's kind of interesting is it has no monetization in it at all. So there's no in-app purchases, just because it was a flash game that wasn't available for the creators. So it's kind of come over to mobile without that. It has like Flappy Bird again, has in-game advertising, but quite how much money Miniclip is making from that, even though it's a heavily downloaded game and heavily played game, kind of hard to tell, probably not that much money. And actually it's interesting on that point, it's the most downloaded game on iOS during July, and it's actually already the 6th most played game in the US for iPhone. So very quickly it's kind of translated its big download figures into big active audience. How long that'll last for, kind of hard to tell. Download figures were already dropping off into August. They were kind of dropping off quite significantly, and kind of a bit like Flappy Bird as well. People played it, and then after a couple of weeks, it's like it didn't have much longevity. So it'll be interesting to see with Agar.io whether that longevity can be increased. And certainly Miniclip is working on putting in monetization. So they're working with the original game's creator to try and put monetization in. Again, it'll be interesting to see whether the audience for that game is very. I imagine some of them certainly will be quite vocal about it, like having the option to spend money, because that wasn't really there in the original game, and that's not the game they've been playing. So quite a difficult scenario really for Miniclip to kind of try and put monetization in a game that doesn't have any at the moment and has a big audience. But it's kind of again interesting that we are kind of seeing that because it's so expensive now to do user acquisition and to get people to install free-to-play games and then monetize them, that actually, maybe there's a tendency to kind of launch games without much monetization in a different way. We kind of see this in the Vainglory game, which is a mobile MOBA, and that launched with very light monetization, and now they've raised a lot of money to make it into an esport game. So they're trying to monetize an audience in a different way, not necessarily directly, but maybe through indirect means, and create it as a kind of a standard. So much like League of Legends has done on PC, they're trying to do that on mobile. And I think that all these moves are a reaction into the way that people can't survive. It costs $2 or $3 to get someone to download a game, and only maybe 2 or 3 or maybe 1% of them will actually monetize it. Then suddenly the cost you're trying to get out of the people who are monetizing is getting to hundreds of dollars, which for some games can be done, but obviously is difficult. So it's an interesting move. I guess we'll wait and see whether Agar.io is a real Flappy Bird. At the moment, it's kind of not quite a mass market meme. I suppose it's kind of like a gamer meme. We'll see if it kind of crosses over into the mainstream. We'll see if the American chat show hosts start talking about it, which always seems to be the touchstone for when a game has gone mainstream. Anyway, that's the news today. Come back tomorrow and we'll find out what's going on in the world of mobile games. See you then.